Hello and welcome to the hello and welcome to the very first episode, somewhat first, I should say.
Yeah, how
Very
are we
first.
gonna do this? We got a whole new shtick, right?
Yes, this is weird. The very first episode of Else Nerds. Um, this is weird. This is sort of a new shtick, but it's really the same old. Because if you were joining us for wait, did I say Else Nerds? That's the other thing. This is not Else Nerds. This is What Else Is On. This is the new show that we have here on the Else Nerds Network, Else Nerds Shows network thing that we're doing here. Basically, if you are a long-time fan of ours, from the Glenn Rubenstein days.
Let's put on airs. Let's not put on airs. If you're someone who's watched before,
Yeah.
we'll take that.
Thank you.
Do you know me? Do you know Gregor? Do you know any of us? Do you know Glenn? Maybe you were a Glenn person, and you're like, hey, who are these schmucks? Well, now we're schmucks that aren't on Glenn's thing, so we're even schmuckier.
Yes.
I think that makes it silly.
Yeah. So we've
Rebranded.
We've rebranded. We've, much like the WWF, we've gotten the F out. um, we've changed names. We've still kept the homage. We still have the what's from What We're Watching Weekly, for the show, and we're doing the same thing. We're still talking about the TVs, the TV shows we watched, the movies that we watched. We'll still talk about the news. And we've, except for this week, but we've taken the comics and we've moved it to its own show. It's got its own place. It's going to go over to its own little area and going to do its own little thing on its own night.
Nobody puts comics in the corner.
Yeah, no one puts comics in the corner.
Except for us. Like, apparently that's what we're doing. We're putting comics.
No, comics is getting its own night. Instead of instead of sitting there going and making these long nights, we're making shorter, more concise times.
So we're going pamphlet style as opposed to
epic tones.
Yeah, epic. Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
So
I was going to say more of an anthology, but no, that's fine.
Yeah. So Corey, how you doing, sir?
I am just as lost as you are, so I'm great.
Yeah, well, at least you're not the one who does the intros and decides to intro the whole network as the one show and then realizing halfway through, oh, wait, no, this is not the whole show, and then having to backtrack.
I've never been invited to do the intro. I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
some people just don't have faith in me.
It's just like, I'm like, oh, here, let's go, and then I just sort of do it because that's just how I am. But yeah, so let's start off with a little bit of news, and it's some sad news. Yeah, if you haven't heard on Twitter or Facebook, Robin Williams passed away. He was 63 years old, and yeah, this is sad for anybody, to be honest.
I was sitting at work. I was having a conversation with some of my coworkers and stuff, and we were all just sitting there talking. And DJ, who's the head of sales at our place, basically was looking at some stuff online, and then all of a sudden the Robin Williams thing popped up, and I immediately jumped out of my chair and ran over to my computer to see if there was a verification, to see if it was real, because we get a lot of these stupid hoaxes of people saying things like, oh, this person is dead, and then it turns out they're not. Actually, there seems to be something going around, a fake story saying that this was a hoax, but it's been corroborated by too many different sources at this point. So, again, you sick bastards trying to make light of a pretty important person, actually. And so, yeah, my wall on Facebook was just plastered. Like, there was no end to the people posting about this. Everybody seems to be pretty devastated. I felt a connection to Robin. He's been a big part of my generation, our lives going back now 40 years or so. Uh, when I was a kid, he and John Ritter were essentially my surrogate TV dads.
Yeah.
It was Mork and Mindy, and it was Three's Company, and I followed Robin definitely to other things. Popeye being the big breakout, like, oh my God, he's playing a cartoon character. How awesome is this? And it was a musical, and it became like one of my favorite movies as a kid. He's actually from this area too, so when I worked for Best Buy, he had been a regular at our stores and stuff, and shortly before I left the company, there was a point in time when I saw him in our San Rafael store, and I just didn't work up the nerve to go bother him. It was like he's such an important thing to me, and I also don't like to just bug celebrities. I don't want to get in people's way and stuff. Even when I go over to Twit, as nice as everybody at Twit is to me, I don't like to be in the way. I try to kind of like scooch into the corner more than anything else. But I would have gone over the shelves had I had the opportunity. I would have gone over the shelves, grabbed a copy of Popeye, had him sign it, and just let him know how big of a deal he was to me in my life. And it's really kind of tearing me up that I didn't take the opportunity to do that. So if you get the chance to meet your heroes, kids, just go for it. Just treat them like a human being, but let them know how much they mean to you, because you just might not get that chance again.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I saw on Twitter, and because I favorite Justin Robert Young on Twitter, and Brian Brushwood and a few others, and just seeing their Justin doing all these, and it didn't dawn on me then that Robin Williams had passed, and then it was Popping and Mumble, and it was one of the people that I play Minecraft with, him sharing the news, and I'm like, really? Holy crap! Like, that reaction, that here a guy that I looked up to, like, I think one of my first encounters was Aladdin, the Disney movie, like the Disney cartoon.
Yep.
Like, was the genie for me, because that was my childhood. I'm a child of the '90s here. This is gonna make you feel old, Corey, and I'm sorry.
No, I believe that the only time that I've taken one of my younger siblings to the movies, it was my eldest of my younger brothers, Sean. We took, as he was very young, to see Aladdin at the theater. I don't think he enjoyed it, but he was really young, and he was interested in other things and stuff. But yeah, it definitely, that was one of my favorites too.
Yeah, and I mean, for someone to influence a whole generation and influence comedians, I mean, one of his last great performances wasn't even him for me. It was Frank Caliendo doing it on Sullivan and Son. Like, to see him come on, to see Frank Caliendo basically playing himself on Sullivan and Son, but not be Frank Caliendo, be doing someone else who does voices at Carol's work, and just like, and he's doing like, "Oh, I was to see Robin Williams," and then doing his Robin Williams impression, which is pretty much spot on, and I'm like, yes, sort of deal. And it's like that's what we're stuck with now. Not saying that's a bad thing, but like, we're never gonna get Robin Williams anymore.
Yeah, I mean,
and it's from the past.
Right, and what a lot of amazing work to get to celebrate him with. I mean,
Mhm.
you talk about the comedy stuff, and you talk about I mean, Mork and Mindy, and before that, showing up on Happy Days and everything. His stand-up comedy, all these things, but then he did such dramatic stuff. Um, the first one that really stuck in my head was The World According to Garp, which was such an odd film, um, and kind of disturbing, especially as a young kid as I'm watching it, because I'm like, Rob Williams is in this, I have to see this movie, and it's like, oh, I don't understand any of the stuff that's going on in this. But to do things like take risks like Moscow on the Hudson, to
Yeah.
do Dead Poet Society. When he did Good Morning Vietnam, I mean, I had already wanted to go into broadcasting and into to be an on-air radio personality and stuff like that, and that actually kind of pushed me into wanting to be looking in the military as part of it too, joining into being with the Air Force, which
Mhm.
I tried. I almost did. But there was just so many different things in my life that I know that he was the inspiration for. I know that most of my sense of humor, with just the absurdity stuff, the comic timing stuff, is stuff that I learned from watching and listening to him. The humanitarian aspect of him every year with Billy Crystal and Whoopi Goldberg doing comic relief, trying to help the homeless in the country. Just a really great man who has definitely had his hard times, and obviously this is sort of the end of that. But just did so many incredible things for so many people, and to just be ever smiling. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to get. I never wanted to ever want to get into like cause of death things. With the like.
Yeah, I'm perfectly good with
Yeah,
just
because it's.
celebrating Robin.
Yeah,
And,
I always like celebrating the life, never the death, because it always then becomes, oh, it was this, and it's like 9 times out of 10 it's always an accidental suicide with these things.
I don't even really want to
Yeah.
speculate. It's
No.
not our business. It was. It's just, it's sad that this is what gets people to think about, in mass, how important he was. But it's nice that people are.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're exactly right. I mean, it is sad because here, I mean that here it takes this stuff. It takes a passing of a comedic legend, of a person who was just a phenomenal writer, a phenomenal performer, to go still way too soon. I mean, he was 63 years old.
Yeah.
And I mean, he could have still toured. I remember being a freshman, spending some of my time in my English teacher's class with my friends, listening to his live 2002 CD with them, and it was the explicit CD. It was the one that swore, almost to the point where we could quote the CD to each other, like that much.
We did the stuff with the 80s stand-up special. I mean, definitely up there with like Eddie Murphy's Raw.
Yeah.
And those kinds of things. The comedic bits that you and all your friends will repeat, and try to do the act verbatim. We've done that all as well. When I was young, when I was really young, and I first was watching him on TV, I convinced myself that I was from Orc. You know, I had the whole persona and stuff. I really believed that must be where I'm from, because I'm obviously not from here. I make no sense here. And I remember when I was a little bit older, my grandmother sewed a Martian costume for me for Halloween, and it didn't look like an Orcan costume, but she made sure to sew the fingers so that I could do this with my hands to be able to do the Nanu Nanu thing.
Yeah.
Which I also guess could be live long and prosper. But for me, it was all about Mork. It was about Mork and Mindy. And it was also really cool on the season of his recent show, how they would show the scenes at the end. We talked about this a few times. The scenes after the show, where they show them just kind of riffing and doing their improv stuff and the behind the scenes things, just to get to see how he interacted with the other people, these young actors who themselves probably learned a lot from him.
Oh yeah.
In their lives, and got to work with him. It was just, there's a lot of great things about the guy.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I don't think there's anything from these actors. Like, if there's one thing that there's many things I think they probably took from him, but I think they probably took a lot of just improv from him, because the dude, oh my gosh, the dude could improv like no other. I mean, that was one of my favorite episodes. Like, and I remember ABC Family would just air, the classic, I say classic, like it's the British stuff, but the classic ABC, like, Whose Lines.
Right.
And it's like, and it would come to the Robin Williams one. I'm like, yes, yes, and it would come back to commercial, and you're like, Robin's gone. Where's Robin Williams? And then, boom, he pops up from behind Drew Carey, and I'm like, and this is the moment where Drew Carey dies of a heart attack. And it's like, oh my gosh, like this. It's just this guy. It's like, he's like, I don't think he died. I do think he was Mork from Mork. And this is them coming down to reclaim him.
He's just
sort of deal, you know?
He's just in a big man-sized egg somewhere.
Yeah. But honestly, like, we could go on talking about this. We could dedicate the whole show talking about Robin Williams, and that would be a great first episode.
Yeah, if you just want to watch me cry for an hour and a half straight, sure.
Yeah, but I think we should talk a little bit more, about what we do, or what we normally talk about. And hopefully next week another celebrity won't die to where we have to dedicate some more time to that. Not that, you know. But so yeah, let's talk a little bit about Big Brother, shall we?
Big Brother.
Yes.
Wow. Can I just say wow? And more wow?
Yeah, we have the double eviction thing event that happened on Thursday, which got rid of Jocasta and
Hayden.
And Hayden, the surfer bra, or not the surfer bra, but the pedicab driver from California.
Who looked like a surfer bra, let's face it.
Yeah.
That's what everybody thought of the whole time he was there.
And then they're finally getting their act together, but I'm surprised that people aren't going to catch on before this. Like, for the people who are watching the live feed, they're like, all right, if Frankie didn't pull everyone around immediately and say, guess what, my sister is pop sensation Ariana Grande, because he basically just told everyone after winning the Battle of the Block thing.
Well, let's talk about the Battle of the Block. Let's talk about what happened. So last night's episode, probably the most intense episode of Big Brother that I can remember.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that the house finally has gotten on the idea of we're going to go after Frankie, because Frankie has been a powerhouse player in the game. You know, he's been at the heart or maybe closer to the brainstem of each of the different big alliances that have been slowly petering down to smaller and smaller ones. But he constantly has kept things kind of going in one direction or another. I really think that between Frankie and Derek, they're the two who are the most powerful players in there, from a strategic standpoint at the very least. If not the biggest physical competitors, they're the ones who really control the decision making and stuff. And you know, they didn't get to go after Frankie last week, but when things turned, they got out Hayden. They put Hayden and Nicole up against each other, which made sense to break up what was essentially a couple. It sucked, but it made sense. But
did it make sense though?
No, it absolutely did. It made sense for that group. It made sense for that group to go after them because they were two people, and having either of them one-on-one, they could gain control of them. But having two people united, it's like magnets. If you get two people that are strongly connected, then other people who are free start to get sucked into that gravity and get pulled into it too. So they had their bigger group, but they were seeing this other smaller group happening. For Christine's game, it definitely made more sense for her to get rid of Hayden so she could exert more control over Nicole. She blew it really badly by trying to turn Nicole against Hayden, but in the end it worked out for her because as soon as everything went down and they were both HOHs together, they embraced again. It was like they were good friends again. For the guys and everything, it made more sense to get rid of one of them because, you know, they can manipulate one more than they can manipulate two. When you have two people who already have a strong idea together, you can't do a lot to break up that idea. But when you have one person, you can kind of change their mind. You can get the wheels rolling like, oh, maybe you haven't considered it this way. Maybe I haven't considered it that way. You know, and that's why Nicole did say, you know, I trust Derek because he's not yet lied to me. Well, yeah, he has. But you don't know that, and you don't have someone to second guess it with you or to even put it in your head that he might be. So starting this out, going after Frankie and everything, Christine and Nicole put up their nominations. It was a bummer to see Donnie up there. I think what was the most funny thing to me was seeing Victoria realize she wasn't nominated at all. In fact, the fact that it was all guys was nice to see.
Yeah.
I think that's the first time that's happened. We've had several times when it was all girls, but this is the first time that it was all dudes up there. So Nicole put up Caleb and Frankie with the intention of Caleb throwing it so that they could backdoor Frankie out of there. And Caleb, you know, had a very cool moment where he's sitting there and Frankie realizes that, oh, this is going to blow up in my face all of a sudden. Caleb, why won't you look at me? Why won't you look at me? You're going to throw this. Why are you going to throw this? Don't believe what they told you. And Caleb's like, this is what you get. You know,
yeah,
and just threw it all in his face. That was awesome.
Yeah, but Caleb threw it the wrong way, though.
It came back to bite him in the ass.
Yeah. Caleb did that. Honestly, okay, and Pow Pow threw it the right way. Like,
right.
There's... Like Pow Pow did it where you play the game, and then, like, where Brittany had the beer goggles on, Pow Pow told her the wrong answer.
Mm-hmm.
You want to throw the game correctly? There, beast mode cowboy. Here's what you do.
I think
you
it suits his character to say straight up, no, you did these things to screw me and screw other people over in this house. I'm not playing for you. I agree with the mentality of it. The reason that it blew up is because he sat out, and that meant that Frankie just controlled his own destiny. And Frankie, like a little badass,
won,
beat two other guys. Now, it was Donnie and Zach, who are not the greatest players, but they're both strong players. They both
Yeah.
won things. Frankie really took the reins on it and saved his own ass and did a great job and deserves it. Deserves the win. But my mentality was, Caleb, you are allowed to play. So even though you decided to sit down at first, doesn't mean you can't get up and disrupt this. You're the only person who could go over there and put hands on and take control away from Frankie on the competition. You know, not put hands on him, but take one of the chains and say, no, I'm doing this. You know, he sat down. He should have gotten up. But in the end, amazing episode.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I mean, like Wednesday's probably going to be another great episode as well. I don't know how they're going to top like Frankie. Honestly, though, I don't know if it's going to be a smart idea revealing that Ariana Grande is his sister, though.
No, it's probably not. But at this point in time, who cares?
Yeah.
You know, it's not we hate you because your sister is famous and rich and you don't need any of this. It's we hate you because you're a manipulative bastard in this house. And it's not even that we hate you. It's just you're a manipulative bastard and we can't trust you.
I see the logic behind it because, you know, it's like, hey, trust me. You know, like, hey, trust me here. You know, I'm going to let you in on this big secret I've had. You know, my sister is this big pop star. I can score you tickets to some of her concerts or whatever. Or hopefully he leads with that, and I can get you tickets to, or I can get you backstage to her TV show.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, come see episodes of Sam and Cat. Oh. The thing is that Big Brother, it seems like for a while they've always had somebody in there who's afraid to come in and reveal something about themselves. You know, I don't want people to know I'm a cop. I don't want people to know that I'm this. I don't want people to know that I have money or that I'm a successful scientist or anything. The only time that it ever really mattered that somebody had a secret was the twins. When they had the two girls that were playing as one person. That was the one that was like, okay, yeah, that's a heavy secret. And then as soon as they revealed it, boom, you're out of here.
Didn't they have? But didn't the twins though? Didn't one of them have like a tramp stamp?
I don't remember that, but nobody realized it until they brought the other one in.
Yeah.
And then everyone's like, well, she's got to go. And the other one was all upset. She's like, but I'm just finally getting to play my game. Well, no, you've been part of the underhanded BS the whole time, so see you later. And again, you can't have couples in the game. You can't allow that to happen. Unless they're on your team, and even if they're on your team, you want to broke them up before you get to the final three, because you know then it's 2 against you. Yeah. So every time there's been a coupling on the show, they try to break them down.
Oh yeah, and honestly, I don't see this Battle of the Block thing happening for more than 2 weeks. Like,
no, it's gotta stop. I'm surprised they did the 2 HOHs this week. Yeah. After doing the double eviction night, it just didn't make sense to go back to 2 again. Mm-hmm. And it would have been nice if it hadn't, because then Nicole would have been up there by herself. She wouldn't have had to worry about, you know, it would have been Caleb against Frankie, and that's it.
Yeah. Actually, I think what they would have done though is Nicole and Christine would have faced off in the tournament.
Right.
Yeah. But I don't know. It's like, because honestly, what's going to happen is if they keep it going with the whole battle, the way the Battle of the Block's been going up, is Frankie, or is they keep it up, is the 2 people who come off are like there's the veto competition is going to become pointless.
Yeah, they have to drop it soon. They don't have the numbers for it anymore.
Yeah.
So and what do you think about the twist that Jocasta or Hayden or somebody who's been evicted can come back in, someone from the jury, which would only be those 2 so far?
I don't think it's going to work, because it was like they did it last year with the it didn't work that well. So I don't know how it's really going to work again.
I think it becomes who gets eliminated next. Do those three people have to compete then to see which one of them comes back? So if a strong player goes out against Hayden and Jocasta, that person's just going to turn around and come right back into the house.
I think what it'll probably end up happening is it would be like last year where they had 4, and then they compete in an HOH competition. And then whoever lasts the longest, if they last the longest, they become HOH. To where actually, yeah, that'd probably be where it. See, now I'm contradicting myself. To where then they're back in. If they last the longest, they're back in. If they keep the Battle of the Block thing going, then they're in. And then they're HOH, with like partnered up and stuff. To where, yeah, to where then they're doing the whole Battle of the Block thing. To where it's giving them the fighting chance. This honestly could be why they're doing the Battle of the Block thing, because if you remember last year, where they did it, the person who came back in only lasted like that next week, and boom, they're out.
Then they're out. But yeah. That's fair. That's the game. You know, we wanted you out. Just because you got back in doesn't mean we're not going to try to get you out again.
Yeah.
It's the competition the whole way through. I do find that this is one of the most interesting seasons. There have been some really great competitors, including people that didn't look like they were that good a competitor to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
People are really doing some crazy moves. And Nicole going after everybody and telling everybody what's up last night was like Christine said, she goes, that's a power play. That is a big deal. You know, she's not holding back on anybody. She's just going to town on everyone. And there's no shortage of that this season. Like, Zach always shoots his mouth off.
Zach's a hothead.
He is a hothead. Nicole was just feeling betrayed and felt like, I'm just going to get everything out there because I can't believe that all of you people just lied to me like that. It's been really tense, but in a good way. You know, mm-hmm. I feel like anybody who leaves the house, I know that there's been some bitch moves and stuff, and some saying some nasty things about each other on the way out the door and all that, but I think when you get past the point of it being a game, I don't think there's anybody in this house who should outright hate each other. I think there's only one pair of people that probably should never see each other again, and that's Caleb and Amber, for her safety.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And honestly, out of this season compared to last season, I think there are more All-Stars in this season.
Yeah,
and honestly,
definitely.
And honestly, I think Zach might be one of them.
Zach. Sometimes I like Zach. Erin thinks she really likes Zach. She just thinks he's so funny. But it's funny because he's a big kid.
I think, and here's the thing though. I think you bring Zach in. You bring Zach in, like, probably not next year, but like if they do definitely the next All-Star season of Big Brother, but you bring him in with Dr. Will, but especially a Mike Boogie, and you knock him down the 5 pegs he deserves to be knocked down.
I don't want to see Mike Boogie come back ever again. I am boogied out.
But no, you know what I'm talking about though.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, because Zach thinks he's right there with them, or Evil Dick. You know, any one of these.
Evil Dick would be fun.
Yeah, any one of these guys who are these evil geniuses that Zach thinks he is, and then bring them there, especially if they do a whole like good versus evil thing.
Well, that's like Dan too. Everyone says that Dan was such a big villain and stuff like that. I'm like, Dan is the least convincing person that ever was. I don't know how people bought into his crap because he's so lame, and he always does the coach thing, and then he's like, oh, I'm gonna turn this on its ear, and he goes and he starts, you're dead to me, you know what you did, and makes the girl cry. I'm like, what the hell is this crap? Dan was just like the biggest melodrama.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know, shut up, go away. Your time here is done, sir.
Yeah, but here let's switch gears a little bit and do um let's do some Suits talk.
Oh, I am behind on Suits.
Oh, are you?
I did not get to see Suits this week, so. Wait,
Shall I
no,
tease it
wait.
for you?
I'm trying to remember if was it the season finale?
No,
All right.
no, it's not season finale.
Yeah, I haven't seen the episode where they're supposed to be now working together.
Hmm.
So I saw the big blow up and everything before that, where I said basically, yeah, they're doing everything they can to ruin the characters. But I didn't see the one after that. So yeah, I'm behind on my Suits. But go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. Um, well, I don't know if I want to ruin it for you.
Eh.
It's I don't. I think they might be ruining the show though. To be honest,
I can't say it doesn't feel that way. What I do think is that can be a masterful stroke because some of the best shows are the ones that make it seem like they've gone so far down a bad road that there's no way to recover, and then they go, oh, but wait, we've got it, and they figure it out at the end to just like we
well,
had you fooled the whole time.
especially with how especially with how they've been with how we've been talking about some of our favorite storylines have been, and sorry, I don't want to spoil anything for you. I
Okay.
honestly do not.
So I'll have to watch 2 episodes of Suits for next week.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think of anything. If there's anything else TV. Oh, sorry. Garfunkel and Oates. Evan wants me to talk about Garfunkel and Oates.
Yeah, and I
Um,
didn't get to see it yet, but I don't think there's spoilers worried about in Garfunkel and
yeah.
Oates. And
So I talked a little bit last week about the sneak peek, where it was, which it's interesting because yeah, the episode is on YouTube and it has T.J. Miller, and I think there was a few other people in there. And then this episode, I'm trying to think if there's anyone in there that I recognized. Oh yes, there was someone there that I recognized. Sir Ben Kingsley was in there.
wow.
Yes. Um, and Evan is pointing out Ben Kingsley was funny. Ben Kingsley was hilarious.
Ben Kingsley
Um,
can be very funny.
yes. And who else was in there? Natasha Leggero was in there. Anthony Jeselnik was in there.
Ooh, I miss Anthony Jeselnik. I wish the show had stuck around.
Yeah. Anthony Jeselnik actually played not Kate McCucci, but the other one.
Ricky Lindholm?
Yeah, Ricky Lindholm's boyfriend, and they wrote a song, or she wrote a song called "The Fadeaway" in there, and they actually play it at the end of the episode, and it's hilarious. The song is just hilarious, and because she's avoiding this guy, like with her texts, or no, sorry, Kate is avoiding this guy, like she's just like, oh sorry, I'm working, or I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and then their agent, who they literally see as a puppet, and you literally see him as a puppet, is like going, hey Kate, and calls her the Gooch, like her
Right.
character from Scrubs. So we need you to be this hot slut for this movie part.
Wasn't the Gooch also the villain for Arnold on Different Strokes?
I don't
Wasn't
know.
that like his bully? He always talked about the Gooch.
I don't know. I've never seen Different Strokes.
Oh, you should watch Different Strokes in the back of a bike jar sometime.
But and so she's like, I don't have anything that's really feminine. You're like and so she's trying on all these different outfits. It's sort of like, well, who is really short and feminine? So they go to Natasha Leggero's um house because she's really short, and basically she dresses like a like an older slut, basically.
Okay.
Like she does in the episode.
I know the persona that she plays. I like
Yeah,
Natasha Leggero. She's very
yeah.
funny.
And so they're trying out. She's like holding up all these different outfits, and then she finds this one. And sorry, and she finds this one, and she's like, she doesn't get the part, and so she to cheer herself up, she goes to this toy store where she runs into the guy that she was avoiding and his girlfriend. And oh gosh, another stand-up comedian that's on a lot of the Nerdist stuff. Um, sorry, I liked your response there, Corey. Um, sorry, in the group chat, Evan posted a link, really long link, and Corey's response is, "You never heard of Bitly?"
So now, just in general on the show, there are two things that I desperately want to happen just because of symmetry. And I'm a Libra. That means a lot to me. So one is we need to have an episode where Flight of the Conchords shows up. And if possible, on that same episode, I want Tenacious D to show up. Because it just seems like both of those duos have had their shows and stuff like that, and we just need to have that crossover. It just absolutely needs to happen, and I could see it happening because both of those duos are cool enough guys to do that, and Ricky and Kate are absolutely cool, and I think they have the cred that they could have that happen. I think we could see a reunion for Flight of the Conchords happen with the whole cast on the show. I would love to see that happen. Yeah, Paul and Storm will probably show up anyways. I just have a feeling that will happen. And we might even get Hard and Firm, which would be way cool. So if we just have like a Battle of the Bands thing where we just get all the duos up there, we could get the double clicks, just so many different things that could show up, but that would be really awesome. Maybe that's a season finale.
Yeah.
I might be giving something away.
Yeah, definitely.
But doesn't Anthony Jeselnik seem like he should be taking on the roles of Craig Kilborn, who was the douche boyfriend and everything?
He was. No, that was his part.
That makes total sense. Jeselnik has to, because Kilborn just rode off into the sunset after his talk show.
Yeah. Well, Natasha Leggero, because there was two. They always do like two separate little storylines here. He sort of did this this whole douche boyfriend part. And then so they're having sex, and then while she's writing the song, and then she's like they're both brainstorming the song, and then she's like, should I write this down while he's in her? And she's like no, we're good. Wait, yes, I should. Right, and then she's writing it down, and he stopped, he stopped, and then he says a line, and all this stuff, which they include. I'm like, that's the line. And all
yeah, I've got to watch this. I've been a big fan of them separately.
Yeah.
And enjoyed their stuff together too. So
yeah, and then at the end, the very end of the episode, or actually I shouldn't say the very end, but the end of the episode, like where it's like the story part, is Anthony Jeselnik talking in not explicit, but in detail about her, like so much so where he's like, you ever have a folk singer in a comedy duo, stop to write a song while you're in her? And I'm like, dick move.
I'm gonna say something, and just know that I'm saying this from a level of experience. Never piss off a songwriter. Never. never piss off someone who's going to go on to write songs about you
Yeah.
that people will then sing and think, oh, this is the Corey you were talking about? Yeah, he's an asshole. 'Cause that hurts, you know? Especially if the stuff is true. So just be careful. Just be careful. If the girl's got a guitar, maybe you treat her extra nice or you walk away.
Yeah.
Maybe both.
Yeah. So here, and I'm gonna put the link in the chat for Evan and Big Master. So, but yeah, so Corey, it's on Starts and Starts. That's what it is. No, it is Starts and Stops. And for
Snarfs and Snarfs.
Yeah, Starts and Snarfs. But no, and hey, look, Starts and Stops 52. It's comic book related.
Oh God, that's terrible.
Man, it's terrible because it's not complete.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's the Bitly link. It's also down below in the description. It'll be completed for you guys if you're watching later.
Oh no.
Yeah, you can click that link. It'll take you to the Bitly link. For starting on Tuesday. ABC Family. This is actually a great show. It's got a lot of heart.
Do you want to just briefly just say, hey, new viewer,
yeah.
Singular, we do this thing called Starts and Stops.
Yes.
It was handed down to us from the altar of a man named Mike, and Mike's a great guy, and so we continued with that. It is a list of the shows that are beginning and ending, and some specials that you might see in your week. Greg works very hard on the list, and then we talk about it, and I make fun of things that are on TV that I think probably sucks a little bit.
Yes, exactly.
All right, there you go.
Yes, that is exactly it. The full list is in the description below. We pick out a couple of them from each day. Like at 9 p.m. on Tuesday, August 12th, my sister's birthday.
Is that an MTV special? I didn't see that one.
No, it's actually my sister's birthday, August 12th.
Oh, okay. I thought for sure that was like my Sweet 16 from hell.
No, well, sort of.
Okay.
When we were younger, it was. But no, at 9 p.m. on ABC Family, the first season summer finale of one of their better shows, to be honest, Chasing Life. The episode titled "Finding Chemo."
Oh, that sounds uplifting.
Well, it actually is if you follow the progression of the show. But it is a good show. And then at 10 p.m. on Sci-Fi or Syfy, the Wil Wheaton project for Will's Eyes Only. So, all the views on this episode were done by Wil Wheaton. It is also the first season finale of the Wil Wheaton project.
Is that just to imply that he's the only one watching at this point?
Well, no, it's the episode's
I'm kidding.
Yeah, but if the episode's called for Will's Eyes Only, then he must be all the views must be for Will's eyes.
All right.
Either that, or he's duplicated his eyes and cornea transplants forever.
Ooh, and then we can sing the Kim Barnes song, Wil Wheaton's Eyes. No, I don't know if that's right.
Hungry Eyes.
No, there was Betty Davis Eyes. Again, well before your time, sir.
Yes. Moving on to Wednesday. At 9 p.m. on El Rey, a 1-hour special presentation. The El Rey Network presents The Director's Chair, Quentin Tarantino Volume 1. I didn't see the one before, but this almost sounds to me like the Inside the Actors Studio, but for directors. Yeah. And then
it sounds to me like Robert Rodriguez has started his own TV channel and says, "Hey, you know who I've got in my hip pocket? Quentin Tarantino. There's no way I'm not going to get him on my station."
Yeah. Well, the one before was Guillermo del Toro.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then at 10 p.m. on TNT, the 4th season premiere of Franklin and Bash, which is a show I really enjoy. And also at 10 p.m. on A&E, the second season premiere of Wahlburgers. See anything else? Oh, at 10:30 on FXX, the extra X means it's a channel. The series finale of Wilfred. Let's hope that doesn't necessarily mean the extra X means it's canceled.
The extra X means we exercised these shows from another network and shoved them here.
Yeah. Moving on to Thursday on at 9 p.m. on Fox. The first season finale of Gang Related, with the episode Melandros. And also on NBC, the 2-hour 8th season finale of Last Comic Standing. That show's been really funny. I'm just really sad they got rid of, well, not got rid of, but they cut Joe Mackey. Eliminated Joe Mackey. I thought he was killing it. Moving on to Friday. Friday at 12:01 a.m. on Netflix, you have the special presentation of Mission Blue. And at 10 p.m. on TBS, you have the first season finale of Funniest Wins.
So what is a special presentation on Netflix? Isn't that just we've added another show to Netflix?
Basically, yeah. It's
okay.
Just it could be like a comedy thing or something like that. It's just not like, I guess it's just not like a TV series or something like that, I guess. Saturday has the has stuff.
Oh, I know what Mission Blue is.
Oh, cool.
We'll talk about it. Okay.
Yeah, go for it while I'm looking here.
Mission Blue is the special, I believe, of James Cameron when he went to the bottom of the ocean. He took that special submarine down to the farthest depths. I think that anyone's gone. He was on Colbert this past week, and he was talking about it and stuff. It looks pretty incredible. So, yeah, that would definitely be something that I think Aaron and I will be watching.
Oh, cool. Yeah, so, and then on Saturday, at 9 p.m. on BBC America, because Doctor Who comes out soon, the 1-hour special presentation of Doctor Who, The Ultimate Companion, I believe. There was a little bit of mix-ups in here, timey-wimey stuff, I'm assuming, because there was also another thing on BBC America at the same time, so there could be something else. I don't know. This tends to happen when you go far off onto my sources in there, so there could be something else. I don't know. Don't shoot the messenger. And then at 10 p.m. on HBO, you have the 1-hour special presentation of Cat Williams' Priceless. And then, excuse me, at Sunday on Fox at 8 p.m., you have the Fox Sports special, the NFL preseason, Kansas City Chiefs at Carolina Panthers. 10 p.m. has the series premiere on Pivot of The Operatives. And then on Monday, at 8 p.m. on Nickelodeon, I found this just weird timing, the series premiere of Dora and Friends Into the City. And also at the same time on ABC Family, the 3rd season finale of Switched at Birth. And at 9 p.m. on CW, you have the 21st season premiere of the America's Next Top Model of The Boys Are Back. And also on Monday, on BBC at 10 p.m. on BBC America, Doctor Who: The Ultimate Time Lord. And that concludes starts and stops. And now for the movie draft update. Again, link down below. It is always up to date every Monday when I update it. And I teased this.
It is always up to date if you check it when I've put it up to date.
Yes. I update it every Monday.
Okay.
And again, I think I teased this last week that I predict and I could be very close in my prediction, but we will all be in. Well, I definitely think we will all be in $1 billion, but I think we will all be in $1.2 billion. All three teams will be in $1.2 billion, or very close to it. And I mean, Team Honda will be in $1.19 billion.
It really has turned out to be a strong finish for Team Honda, which is good when you have a lackluster start.
Yep. Evan is asking how many movies are left to premiere? None. All the movies have premiered. In third place is still Team Honda with $971 million, and then 3,000 blah blah blah. Yeah. Here I can. Corey, you want to do the prices? Do you have the link?
I do not have the link. Otherwise, I would be.
All right. Hold on.
Totally for you.
/W. Sorry. Gotta capitalize. That's important. Galactic Draft 2014. Should be the right link. All right, group chat. There should be the right link for you guys.
How are you typing?
Group chat.
Okay.
Yeah, group chat. And then we are in second. We
are in second place with 1,213,927. No, wait. $1,213,927,803.
Yes.
All right, and so this is basically we're separated by about $60,000, almost to a T. In first place at the moment with $1,273,056,239 is Team Car Ramrod. I almost. We've gone this long, I still don't know how they came up with the name Team Car Ramrod, and I never want to know. I never want to know how they came up with that.
Do you seriously not know?
No, because I wasn't there, and I'm going to keep it that way, and you shut your face. You shut your dirty face, because I don't want to know. Because I have a dozen jokes in my head, and all of them are really nasty.
So you've never seen Super Troopers?
I guess I have.
That's the when the fat guy and Ramathorn are going. What?
Rabbit?
And and Rabbit, and he's like, "Say Car Ramrod, say Car Ramrod."
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that sounds like a Matt and Dave thing.
That was Matt. He's like, "Say Car Ramrod."
That's way disappointing now, but okay, I get it. Should we petition for a name change now for our team? Because we got 2 weeks left.
They can no longer be Car Ramrod.
That's right. So if we don't win, it doesn't matter because we never played, baby. We haven't gone up against Team Elsenerds before. What up?
But yeah, so we have what 4 more weeks? Yeah, sorry. When did it come out? This past week. Yeah, so we have 4 more weeks left to go because all the movies have premiered. And that number seems a little disappointing to me though. With Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, $65 million.
You're disappointed that you wanted it to do better, or?
Yeah, that seems like it should have did more.
It's enough to greenlight a sequel.
Yeah.
So here's the thing to keep in mind is for people like me, and I'm not gonna try to make it like, oh, I'm better than you or anything, but so we're just gonna go with people like me who have taste did not want to see this movie. No. Someone posted an article today, and it's absolutely true. If you didn't like this movie, it's because you're not a kid, and that's fine. You know, it's like anything else. I've had years. I've had like 3 decades of being able to enjoy the Ninja Turtles in some form or another. Passing them on to another generation is absolutely fine. But I don't think anybody expected this movie to be great.
Mm-hmm.
I think they expected that they would go in and they would have a good time, and it would be dumb humor, which is not really outside of what we've gotten from Ninja Turtle movies before. I remember standing in line and seeing the Ninja Turtles movie when it came out in '90, and hearing the ninja rap stuff all the time, like before the Vanilla Ice one.
Yeah, which they still plug for Kraft Macaroni and Cheese now.
Yeah, which is funny. They were the cartoons and stuff, and the movies have been based around stuff for kids. The comic didn't start out that way. The comic definitely went that way for a while, and now it's back to semi-mature readers. But it was always a far-fetched thing. We're talking about turtles that have gotten hit with ooze, that grew up to be ninjas. It whatever it is.
Yeah.
But people are saying that they thought that Guardians of the Galaxy would have beat it this week, even though Guardians of the Galaxy essentially beat it their first week, and they did much higher numbers than what this did. The way that I see it is people who enjoy Michael Bay's movies are not... We're finding out Americans aren't as into it. Transformers 4 did worse domestically than any of the Transformers movie has, but it's doing phenomenally overseas, and I think this movie will do really well overseas too.
Basically, what you're saying is we need to export Michael Bay.
No, I'm saying that he makes movies that are more visual than they are cerebral.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we have gotten to a point where, like we badmouth Tom Cruise here, we badmouth big stars because we seem to get a little snooty sometimes. I don't enjoy Michael Bay movies because I'd like more story out of them than I like explosions, and it's a personal taste because it's the right one. But I get why people enjoy his stuff, and I think that this is a movie that if you don't sit there and think too much about the dialogue and stuff, you're probably going to have a fun time with it. Whereas Guardians of the Galaxy, to me, seems like it would do better domestically than it would overseas because it feels like such an American movie, even down to the fact that the music from it feels like this huge nostalgia for 80s USA, pop and rock and things. It's just so geared towards us, and I'm not saying it can't do well overseas, but I don't think they're going to get the same bits out of it that we do here. Certainly not in like China and Japan and things like that, where it seems like Transformers is doing better. The other thing is that Guardians of the Galaxy and TMNT were both PG-13 films, but people trust TMNT at this point. Parents grew up with the stuff. Their kids have been playing with the toys for years. They've been watching cartoons for years. It's a known commodity to them. So even at PG-13, they're like, I can take my kids to this. Yeah. I know what to expect from the cartoonish violence in it. Whereas Guardians of the Galaxy had the team being called a-holes in the trailer, had the
vulgarity filter.
Yeah. All of that stuff in the trailer. So it felt like they didn't have the benefit of the doubt. But adults went and saw it. Adults went to see Guardians of the Galaxy. Women went to see Guardians of the Galaxy, which is the coolest thing. And kids and parents taking their kids went to see TMNT. I don't expect parents to go see Rio. I don't expect parents to go see Pixar on their own. I expect them to take their kids to these things, and they'll succeed from having the kids do it. I think it did perfectly respectable numbers. I understand why they're going to do a sequel. I'd like the sequel to see some better attempt at making a story out of it than what this one looks to have achieved. I have friends who are big TMNT fans who were super excited to see this, no matter how bad it looked, and they still came out of it disappointed because it's like, yeah, there's a lot of dumb action stuff, but not a lot of great story there, and it didn't really feel like what I wanted, but it was okay. I'm getting mostly okay from this. I'm not getting the this was such an awesome movie thing that Guardians has gotten.
Yeah.
I took Erin on Saturday to see Guardians because after I'd seen it in the theater myself the previous Saturday, I was like, I have to take her. I think she's gonna like this. She loved it. You know, it connected in the things that I knew that it would connect with, including the after credits scene. I knew how much she was going to enjoy this movie, and absolutely, she loved the film. I have no doubt that I'll buy it as soon as it comes out. I have no doubt that we'll both go see the sequel together. And this is going to be something I'm going to watch dozens of times. So I can't be displeased with the fact that, okay, it didn't get the same number as the second week to beat out TMNT. So what? It's already got an announced sequel before it even hit the theaters.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome. It's a huge success on an unproven property. That's awesome. James Gunn, who has done, you know, films that sort of like underground people like, but isn't a widely known commodity in Hollywood for like the mainstream, is getting a huge amount of attention. That's also awesome. So, great. TMNT, good on you. And good on Team Hondo for getting, you know, their final licks in at us this whole time when we've been teasing them a little bit. Like, oh, look how bad they're doing and everything. It's nice that in the end they get some payoff. They deserve it.
Definitely. But yeah, so real quick, I wanted to talk about three movies that I watched this weekend that weren't Guardians of Galaxies, because I'm a slacker loser boy who didn't go to the movie theaters. But they were a part of Comcast's Cinemax Freeview, and they were All-Star Superman, the animated part of DC's animated universe, and then Justice League Doom, also a part of the animated universe. I'm going to talk about these two together because they were just awesome. I mean, the All-Star Superman is a part of Grant Morrison's All-Star Superman run, and that, as you told me yesterday, with a part of our brainstorming session that we had with Beatmaster, and it's just, the art was just good, and these movies, at least these two, feel like comic books to me. Like, there's this, like, I'm sitting there, and there was times when I would hit the My DVR button, because I'm like, is this the end? Like, is this like an end point here? Like, as I'm watching the movie, because it's like, or like almost like I'm expecting a commercial to happen.
All right.
But I'm watching this on Cinemax, or essentially. And then same thing with Superman or Justice League Doom. And Justice League Doom was great because it was based off of Mark Waid's Tower of Babel book, and it had a lot of the same cast from Justice League, and then Nathan Fillion, who did the voice of Hal Jordan on Green Lantern Emerald Knights in the cinematic universe. Ooh, wow, that's big words coming out of Beatmaster, saying that this Guardians of the Galaxy could be this generation's Star Wars more than Star Wars itself.
That has been heavily implied by a lot of people. It's certainly been a, hey, J.J. Abrams, you should pay attention to this. This shows what people connected to with Han Solo and Chewbacca and stuff in the original Star Wars, and this is what we missed in the prequels. And that's absolutely, it's well reflected in the movie. Also, there's some small tributes to Indiana Jones in the movie. There's a lot of tributes to George Lucas in the movie in general, which I think is really funny. And good. You know, we all grew up with these movies and stuff, and it's nice to see some of this come back around.
Mm-hmm.
I am hopeful for the future direction of Star Wars. by having the original cast come back. Whatever they do with them, we still have yet to see, but
Hopefully they
I'm
remain
very
healthy.
hopeful that it will feel like the originals more than it feels like the prequels. But again, the prequels, like TMNT, weren't made for people of my generation. They were made for kids,
Yeah.
and Lucas said that, and kids liked it, and they were successful anyway.
Mhm.
So that's fine. I don't know how kids liked the guy that they're rooting for as a little kid in the first movie turning into a baby killer by the third film. But hey, kids, life's hard. Don't take that candy from the stranger in the van.
But yeah, so who knows? Maybe next week we'll be able to get a little bit more in depth into Guardians of the Galaxy. If not, definitely the week after, because like I've told the kids in where I work at at my church, 3 weeks and then the spoiler warning is off. And so
I will say the last time that I went to see a movie in the theater twice was Attack of the Clones, and that wasn't really by choice. It was because I saw it by myself, and then Erin wanted to go see it, and so I took her, and she was like falling asleep halfway through it because she was so bored. I'm like, you asked to go to this. She's like, I don't really care for these. I'm like, then why did you ask to go? I didn't want to see it again. This was a movie that I chose and wanted to see a second time in the theater. That never happens. So really, you want to go see this?
Oh yeah, no, I do. It's just it's just time and money or stuff
I know.
like that. Yeah. Well,
10 a.m. shows at our local theater, like 10:30, and the tickets were like $6 as opposed to 15.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah. No, yeah, I hear you. But again, back to Justice League Doom and All-Star Superman. I really enjoyed the story with All-Star Superman. Just with the whole story with Lois Lane, and the voice casting with that. Like you had Christina Hendricks voicing Lois Lane, and and like Superman working on using reverse engineering his genetic chemistry to give her powers for 24 hours, like his powers for 24 hours, without the weaknesses of kryptonite, or I think the Red Sun weakness, and then later on doing the same thing for Lex, and then how that worked to him defeating Lex Luthor, and then the Easter egg at the end of that to allude to Superboy. I'm like, ooh, super Easter egg. I'm like, oh, okay, this is really cool. Really, it's so awesome. And I don't know if they ever go into Superboy in there, but they eventually do with Young Justice and stuff like that. But Justice League Doom was the first one I saw, and I'm like, do they not have any other ones? And I saw All-Star Superman. I'm like, wait, there's one. I found another one. But Justice League Doomed was another, or Doom, not Doomed, but Doom, was another one, and that one was cool because you had Cyborg in there, which it was weird because it's like the cyborg part of his face is blue, not black. Come on, and just little nitpicks like that. And then, but just seeing them, and it's like, okay, they had the original, Justice League.
You just got muted, Gregor.
Yeah, Evan muted me. Why are you Evan muting me?
What? At 2, Evan?
Evan, you can't mute the host!
Hey, that's actually awesome power.
But no, the whole story that they went through in there with, they brought in Bane and Metallo and who were some of the other villains, Star Sapphire, which I always am a little leery of how they use the Star Sapphires, where it's not a power ring, it's like a gem in their belly button or whatever.
It used to be in their forehead. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's transferred around.
yeah.
Yeah, Justice League Doom was close to the last of the old continuity transfers into the animation. After that, they did Flashpoint, which led
Mhm.
into all the new stuff is considered part of the New 52.
Yeah.
Um, it was, you're right, it was a very all-star cast in this one,
And
most of whom
even
are holdovers from the Justice League and Justice League Unlimited series, including getting Tim Daly back as Superman, which is very cool.
yeah, and Doom was a great one because it was a tribute to one of the writers who had passed away in or producers. I'm forgetting who it was, but
Uh,
to
Dwayne McDuffie.
yeah, Dwayne McDuffie, who had passed away during or like shortly thereafter, and they did a tribute to it. I'm like, oh, this is great. But I actually got a hold of all 21 movies short right after, like right as we were doing our little hangout yet, or not a little hangout, but our brainstorming session yesterday. So I'm gonna try to get up to date with all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, definitely I would say for the comic book fan, it's one of these things, or for the comic book person who's interested in the stuff, this is something to check out and to dive into, like as a jumping on point, because it's a good way to like help you get it branch in or jump in.
Yep.
And then real quick, I think I might have teased this a little bit in the intro. I wanted to talk about three little areas of comic books this week because I won't be able to talk about them on our alpha of the comic book show Saturday. The first one is the Superman stuff that happened this past week in comic books, and that is Superman Wonder Woman annual number 1, I believe it was number 1. And this is all Superman Doomed, the storyline. And then Superman or Action Comics annual, and I'm leaving out the number because I forget which number it is.
It's probably
then,
3.
Yeah, number 3, and then Action Comics number 34. They're all tying in, and it was such a great storyline. The Action Comics stuff was written by Greg Pak, and no, excuse me, the
Superman Wonder Woman would be by Charles Soule.
Charles Soule. I found out it's actually
Soule.
it's how it's pronounced. Because I was reading it, I saw an interview by through DC All Access, and Greg Pak pronounced it Soul, and I'm like, so it's pronounced Soul. All right.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense. But yeah, this is so good. I actually like the annuals because they're interchangeable. Actually, through Comixology, they sort of lied to me because they said to read Superman annual or read Action Comics and then Superman Wonder Woman first, or read Action Comics then Superman Wonder Woman. But you sort of want to do it the other way, like go Superman Wonder Woman and then Action Comics. But it's just such great storytelling, and you're like so just like Superman's up in space and like trying to control the Doomsday stuff, and then meanwhile on Earth, Batman and all of them are trying to figure out how to get rid of the kryptonite so he can come back and help. While Lois Lane is being controlled by Brainiac, and they're figuring out all this stuff, and just it's like, oh, my heart is just like being tugged by these two writers because it's like, oh my gosh, and then from watching that interview, they're like, yeah, Superman's not going to be the same after this, and I'm like, but he's the big blue Boy Scout. He can't you just of course he's not going to be the same because he's just inhaled Doomsday. I'm saying it's like a new form of meth. But it's like, have you tried Doomsday today or something? But I mean, it's like, but it was just such a great read. It actually would probably make a pretty good DC animated, to be honest. Um, but yeah, the other one was the culmination. I'm pretty sure of Jeff Lemire's run on Green Arrow. And it was Green Arrow number 34. I call it Broken. I think that might have been what the issue was called. Um, and there was an interesting part with the character Dragon, where you sort of see through his eyes as he's picking apart Green Arrow and Diggle, and it's just like almost like Sherlock, where he's like he's in like the hood, and he's like, oh, like Kevlar, eliminate, like pull it off, and just like all this stuff, trick arrows, lightly effective, and all this stuff, and you see like as he's punching, like the ribs broken, smashes the ears, deafened, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so harsh. And then at the end, they're plugging, and I'm not talking the end, but like the end of the issue, New 50 or Futures End. I'm like, really? Come on, do we have to do this stuff? Like, I'm enjoying the New 52 or the Futures End stuff. I'm like, do we have to do this with this stuff? Can't we stay here with this? Like, why? Especially if this means a new writer, you know?
Well, the new writers that are coming to Arrow, though, are the writers for the TV show.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you like the TV show?
Yeah, I do. But it's also because they're in the comic book, Oliver Queen is dead. In the weekly thing, Oliver Queen is dead. But it's like if they're exploring how he died, I'd be interested in that. Like there's like this whole war thing that went on, and he died. That I would be cool with. But if it's more of, and they're exploring Emiko, his sister, or his half sister with Shadow and his dad. I'm like, okay, let's hurry this up along. And then the third one that I want to talk about, the third comic, was Superior Spider-Man number 32, which kicked off the Edge of Spider-Verse issue. And I actually have my tablet pulled up here because there was the to be continued page that I'm going to share, because they actually did a really interesting spot in the continuity of the Superior Spider-Man run where they did where this takes place. This actually takes place. Now, Corey, did you read Superior Spider-Man at all?
No.
No. First off, shame on you. It's a good book. You should read it.
I'm not a Spider-Man guy.
But there's a spot where the Parker Labs is like blowing up, or is getting ready to blow up, and Spider Doc, as I will refer to him now, is like sitting there trying to type in the code to that only Peter Parker knew, like the original OG Peter Parker knew, and it's getting ready to blow up, and Spider-Man 2099 comes in and saves him at the last minute, or so we thought. In actuality, what happened is his mind got sent to the future, and that's where this takes place, is in that moment where like he gets sent to the future. He gets his own little like Cortana future thing that Miguel O'Hara has, and so I think that might be where the Spider-Verse thing is actually taking place. We actually see him interact in this issue with the Indian Spider-Man, which is really cool. Like, I'm like, wait, the Spider-Man looks familiar. And I remember because I actually, just out of boredom one day, was messing around on Wikipedia, saw and just clicked on like the alternate versions of Peter Parker, and came across the Indian version of Peter Parker.
Yep.
And I'm like, and so here I'll show to everyone on YouTube the last page of Peter Parker. Well, it's not the last page. There's more afterwards. but you see there's, and I don't want to screen, but there's, and I did.
You did.
I did, of course. But you see there's Spider-Man Noir. There's one of them is a Spider-Man that's like a monkey. There's one that's like a Spider-Woman, but there's ones that I wasn't even recognizing, like that they hinted at. Like you don't see Spider-Gwen in there. But this has got me really excited because it's like it looks like what they're teasing is Spider-Doc is gathering up all these, and he does battle Morlun in here. But it looks like Spider-Doc is going to gather up all these Spider-Man to battle Morlun in here. At least, so we're thinking. And I'm like, ooh, give me more, give me more, give me more, give me more. And so yeah, that's my thoughts on it so far. But yeah, so.
I'm not. Well, I haven't really read any comics this last week, but what I am reading to kind of, I'm finding, especially last night, my brain just kind of hit this point where I couldn't think straight anymore, and I had kind of a rough week last week, car stuff and a lot of other things. On Friday night, I came home from work, and Erin looked at me and she goes, "You need to go take a nap." It was about 6:30 at night, so I went and I laid down, and I woke up at about 8:30 the next morning. So obviously there's some bit of exhaustion in my brain and everything, but I kind of feel like I'm looking at screens too much, and I'm watching TV and on the computer and on my phone and all these other things. So I'm probably going to try to take a break from being so involved in that, especially because I work on computers for my job too. When I come home, I need to kind of tune out. But on my lunch, it's still a screen sort of, but I brought my Kindle. I've been bringing the Kindle the last week, and I've been reading the novel Marvel Comics: The Untold Story, which is basically the history of Marvel. And I'm still pretty early into it. I'm probably only like 6% in according to the Kindle, so I don't know how many pages it is. And it's still a lot about Stan Lee just when he's kind of like becoming the big person at the publishing company, which still isn't even Marvel yet. I think it's still timely at this point. We've had some stuff with Jack Kirby. We've had some stuff with Joe Simon and some other names that have been mentioned. I think they just mentioned John Romita. But it's interesting because it reads sort of, as a person who's not seen the show, it reads kind of like what I imagine Mad Men is like. It's just that kind of, it's that era. There's a lot of the things kind of become, oh, we had these many stories and this many artists that we could draw from just in case somebody slacked on getting their stuff done because they were out drinking too much instead of doing work. And it's a lot of the references to people being alcoholics, which is kind of weird. But overall, it's pretty good so far, and I want to see how far it goes into who from the company, like where we go, because I mean, so early in, we're just sort of breaking ground on what Marvel starts to be. They've invented the original Human Torch, Namor, and then they showed the creation of Captain America. We've just now gotten to the point where they're talking about the lawsuit that brings about the creation of the Comics Code, and how that screwed everything up, and a lot of people getting fired. A lot of people, it gets really popular, then people lose their jobs, and it gets really popular, and people lose their jobs, and I'm a millionaire, and now I'm broke. Which, in those times, it kind of makes sense, too. Actually, in these times, it kind of makes sense. It's written by Sean Howe, Evan, so you can find it on Amazon. It's been out for at least a year now, maybe about a year. But it's definitely a pretty interesting read, and it's nice to see something about the business of comics that isn't just how to break into comics the Marvel way or how to draw stuff the DC way. There was a movie, a documentary about the Image founders that came out last year, which I think I actually have on my computer that I just haven't watched yet. So I kind of want to, once I finish with this, I want to go ahead and watch that, and I'd like to see more behind the scenes stuff, because the business of the comic stuff and the creators of the comics is getting to be more my interests now than a lot of the comics are, even though there's some really, really good comics coming out right now.
Yeah.
It's just all that inside baseball stuff kind of tweaks my brain. And I need to shut it down a little bit more.
No, yeah, definitely. I mean, that is really cool. But yes, I think that just about wraps it up here for
The
yeah,
inaugural show that was a show that is now a show.
Yeah, exactly. So
there once was a show, and everybody watched. No, nobody watched the show,
So yeah, you could follow us on the Twitter at elsenerds.com. We should be posting stuff a little bit more frequently.
You mean at all? Have we tweeted at all on the Twitters?
No, and that's well, both of our faults, since I'm really busy doing stuff because my church is doing a garage sale, and I've been helping move stuff as people bring it in, and which is always fun when you're a big guy and they're like, "Hey, you're big, you can move stuff, can't you?" And I'm like, "Yeah."
That's true. If you want to set a couple buckets down that I can sweat into, that's fine. I'm
And we have stuff for the arcade project. They've brought in computer monitors. I'm like, yay! So it's like, and then a keyboard, and so it's like, all I need now is a mouse. I'm hoping someone brings in a mouse there.
You should be documenting this for the Else Nerds page on Facebook.
Oh yeah, I will.
That seems to go into Else Nerds territory. I
will, because I have the actually like right there. I have the computer, and then essentially once the once the like final assembly stuff, I will be documenting all of it, like putting it all together, and then like putting essentially like I was talking with the pastor about it right now. I will assemble it and then put on their videos to put into where it's going to be of like runs, like speed runs of things. Like for Super Mario or just like other thing areas, because that's what it's been. It basically has just been like playing like little demos from like what was that one Wii game? Oh crap, I can't think of the Wii game. It's like that Carnival game from 2K Play.
Oh yeah, just Carnival games, I think is what it's called.
Yeah, and so it's
or
like
Wii Carnival.
Yeah, it was like, so I want to play like something on it. I'm like, all right, cool. Like I can find some YouTube videos or whatever to play on and loop, and so it'll be good. And so I have all the files on there. I just need to get the parts from Australia, I believe, and then there's like some other little parts that I have to get to put a graphics card in there, and we should be good. But yeah,
sounds good.
But yeah, so that's been my week or my day today, and then I go back there and probably do more of it tomorrow. But yeah, so come back next week for another installment of What Else Is On. Should we do the little tagline?
Oh, yeah, I guess we can. Should we just make that our regular thing until we get an official licensing? What Else Is On has been a Don't Tell Glenn production.
Bye, everyone.